when you play spades, you deal the cards, goes around one time. You throw out that ace of diamonds, or let's say you throw out the king of diamonds, or it goes around one time, it comes back around, you sitting on the ace of diamonds, king of diamonds, and maybe the 7. But you only got 3 diamonds. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna count these 2 books, the ace and the king.
Yeah.
But you throw out the ace, it goes through. You throw out the king, somebody cut you. You automatically know, okay, this person cut, right? No intrigue in that, right?
No.
Same thing in dominoes. When you have traditional domino players, they have the ability to know very quickly as the game, it goes around 1 or 2 times. Hey, Book, go ahead and play that.
I know what's in your hand. I can tell you what's in your hand.
Yes. I know what you got. You might as well go ahead and play it.
Right.
So we wanted to create some inherent intrigue into the game. So what we said is, instead of pulling 7, pull 5 and leave 8 stones on the table. Well, now when you leave the 8 stones on the table, and remember I said it's a points driven game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and remember also I said we were not domino players, we were not poker players. So we were not married to any rules of any particular game. Right. Oh, you can't do that, all that. Right. Anything goes. You create it, and if it makes sense, if we can validate it, it works. So in Big Stakes 5, you can pull from the quarry, we call it, it's traditionally known as the boneyard, but we call it the quarry. You can pull from the quarry even if you have a play, because what you might be looking for stuff for a point, right? To be able to, you need that 6-4 to get a 15, right. Score, right. Or what have right. But the point is, you as my opponent don't know if I don't have a play or if I'm looking for points. Right. And so, right. Or I might have, let's say I'm sitting on 4 3s. Mm-hmm. Well, chances are 2 of those other 3s are probably in the quarry. If I pull them, and now I'm at 6, there's just 1 more 3 out there. Right. I can lock the board, and I can get everybody's money. Yeah. So, but the point is intrigue. That's all it is. And so when you the unknown, and if you so that's what Big Stakes 5 is in a nutshell.
Man, I love the game. I didn't know what to expect, but I love it. Like I said, I only got the beta version, of course. The big rollout comes tomorrow, New Year's Day, guys. Make sure you download that Big Stakes 5 now. I know you got 2 patents, so can you tell the people the platforms or the patents you have so far?
Yeah, we have 2 patents. The first patent we got was for the electronic version. So that covers your consoles, your mobile apps, and computer, web versions. And we got that, and we were fortunate to get that in 2013. And then the second patent we got was for the actual tabletop version, which includes recreational play, casino play, and then your retail version. And so, the benefit of that, and this is again where it goes into follow up with, if you have an idea, think about when we invented Big Stakes 5, Texas Hold'em was at its height, right? ESPN, World Series of Poker, you name it, you always saw Texas Hold'em. Now, think about if you owned Texas Hold'em, and every time anywhere in the world somebody played Texas Hold'em poker, whether it was on TV or not, you get paid, right?
Yes, licensing. Yes,
licensing, exactly. So as proprietors, as patent holders, patent owners, if you will, anytime somebody plays Big Stakes 5, we 1619 will benefit from that. And so it's something that you can't take for granted in the lease, but it's also very important. Anytime someone uses chips, and again, using chips to keep score. I watched, for example, an episode of Real Husbands of Hollywood, Kevin Hart and his crew.
Right, right.
You know,
Dwayne,
and
yeah,
yeah, Nelly,
yeah.
all the fellas, they're playing dominoes, and guess what? They have cash money right there on the table, right? They're not using chips, but they got the cash money. Well, you replace the cash money with the Big Stakes 5 money chips, and it's the equivalent.
Right.
And instead of using the pen and paper to keep score, now you're using actual chips. And when we went down to Andalusia, Alabama, which is the home of the World Domino Championship, we introduced the Big Stakes 5 game. Everybody looked at us, kind of that side eye, like, what in the world? But the one thing that got their attention was the chips. Because again, these people have been watching the poker guys on TV for years. And now all of a sudden, as a domino player, traditional, now I get to be like the guys on TV. So they're playing with the chips and they're folding them, through the thumb, through the thumb, and all these different things that they've seen on TV. And now they get to do, themselves. And so, and through that, we've been fortunate now to bring on board Travis Newsom. He's a 3-time world domino champion. He's the commissioner of Big Stakes 5 and our director of gaming. Wow. And to have someone of that caliber, again, going back to build a team, make it, you have to have credibility, in what you're doing. It's not, I learned from one of my mentors years ago, it's not what you say it is, it's what everybody else says it is. And to have a 3-time world domino champion say, I believe in this enough that I want to be on the team and I want to help lead it, the launch.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get that stamp is huge. Now, I know, I have an iPhone, so I know you have the iOS version from App Store. And then they can also get the game to their phone from Google Play.
Play Store. Play. So tomorrow it'll be on Google Play Store. Unfortunately, the iOS version won't come out until we go full production.
Okay.
So that may be maybe in 10 days, 15 days or so. But the Google Play Store, you'll be able to Big Stakes 5, download it and have all the fun your heart desires, for sure.
Wow, huge. Now, this is going to have an international presence also, correct? Can you go into that?
Yeah, we're fortunate to, Neil is actually based in South Africa, and he has a great relationship with the CEO of the largest Black-owned marketing firm on the continent. And in addition, not just the largest Black-owned, and then I think the 3rd largest marketing firm, period. And they've got clients like Mont Blanc, Texaco, KFC, you name it, the big boys. They even represent the ANC, for example, and then the president of South Africa, for example. So for them to receive us and say, hey, we want to market, become the agency of record in terms of marketing Big Stakes 5. It was an honor for us. We say we selected them, but they also, selected us, because they could have easily said, you guys are, when you get a little bigger, talk to us.
Right.
But in that, because of the relationships that they have, not only on the continent of Africa, but worldwide, they have the ability to reach out and touch a global audience. And then our development team, the actual programming development team, is based in India. And so they're helping to introduce the game in India, for example. And, you're talking 1.4 billion people. Yeah. And, I don't necessarily believe SD and percentages, to typical, oh, if we just get 1/10 of 1% of
Right.
all, no,
Right.
I don't, I don't live by that. But in the sense of having the ability to enter that market with a game that people can enjoy and understand, and if the development team, if the development team's reception of the game is anything like what it can be throughout all of India, it's going to be a huge hit there as well.
Wow.
Because the game, it's intuitive, it's strategic, but it's also fun.
Yes, very fun. I can
Yeah,
attest to that.
and yeah, and I had a conversation with my wife. We celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary 2 nights ago.
Congratulations. I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And she said, how do you feel? She asked me, how do you feel about the game? And I said, she went on to say, you seem a little nervous. I said, I don't know that nervous is the word, maybe more anxious than anything. But she quickly put me in my place in terms of letting me know, well, no. You've already achieved. Let's understand that. You have created a platform for people to enjoy themselves and have fun. And so that, like an artist, like you, as an author, your job is simply to create the medium, and then how it's received, that's on an individual basis. You can't control it. So
Right.
why even worry about that?
All right.
But I said, okay, I get that. I respect that and appreciate that. I said, but answer this question for me. Why do you, talking to my wife, play the game the way that you do? Because she absolutely loves the game. We're sitting there looking at TV, and she's not paying attention because she's playing Big Stakes 5.
Yeah.
And I said, why do you, is that because your husband helped create this game? You've been financially invested. Why do you play this game the way
Right.
you do? She explained to me, you made it where people can be successful.
Right.
And she explained to me that when people play other games on the market that are huge, the reason they're huge is because people are able to succeed. And
Right.
when they succeed, they have fun.
Right.
I said, oh. And so to a lot of to the extent that Big Stakes 5 is much the same way. You can succeed and have fun, playing Big Stakes 5. And we purposefully made it where you can play by yourself against the bots to your heart's content. 1 against 3. You can play 2 against 2, 2 live players against 2 bots. Or you can play 4 live players, and we've got a roadmap for going forward to even have one-on-one without the bots and all these different kind of iterations that we have coming forward. But I took comfort in that she said, no, I have fun. And that I think will resonate to your question.
Yes.
Worldwide. People will in fact have fun playing Big Stakes 5.
Yes. And I agree. And the way you were feeling is natural. I felt that way when I wrote the book. I would ask my wife, okay, why do you like it? And then,
Yeah.
because I felt like she was too close to it, right?
Right.
So she was biased, I felt. So I wanted some outside opinions. And then, I started getting that good feedback. And some people say, I like the book. It's not really what the genre I usually read, but it's nicely written.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. It's not for everybody. But is the quality there? Is the professionalism there? That's what I focus on. And if you like it or not, or you agree with it or not, that's none of my business. But I want you to respect the professionalism and the effort
Yes.
I put into it, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you mentioned something inadvertently, and I think people really need to understand this, and they may be confused about it. A few times you mentioned relationships,
Mm.
how you met Neil, how you met your the social media
Mhm.
director, just different
Yeah.
people you've met, even the relationship with your wife, for her to retort or respond back to you in a reaffirming positive way. How important is it as an entrepreneur to get those good, positive, fruitful relationships? And how do you form them?
Yeah. That's a phenomenal question, first of all. Um, and one that I think is inherent to who you are as a person. Because if you, I think, I'm not an expert in the field necessarily, but I think if you're not a genuine soul, then you, I don't know if rebuff is the word, or you shun, or you create
Yeah,
a field around yourself
yeah,
that doesn't allow others to enter.
yes.
And so uh, I feel like I've been fortunate through years, quite frankly, of having relationships, SD, with individuals that, whether I have talked to them in years or not, that when they hear my voice, or hear my name, see my name, that they respond, and in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. One of my dearest friends, um, he was a second lieutenant with me in the Air Force, and we were stationed in Korea together. And his name is Roger Charlie Brown.
Mm.
Now, Charlie, as we call him, Charlie went to NC State undergrad, but then he went to A&T, North Carolina A&T, as a grad, because he wanted to become a pilot. He got his undergrad in engineering, but he wanted to be a pilot, and so he went to North Carolina A&T, North Carolina A&T. And we met in training, and then we ended up 1 month apart in Korea together. Now, Charlie is what would be considered a good old boy,
Okay.
and and man, when you talk about salt of the earth kind of guys, and I laugh at him because he's the only person that I have ever met that still to this day uses the word supper, and he would call me Mikey, you know. And he'd say, "What's going on there, Mikey?" And because we lived in the same captain's in the lieutenant's dorm
Right.
in Korea, and he's like, "Well, and I think he was on the third or fourth floor. I was down on the first floor. He's like, what are we having for supper?" Right. So, but man, I hadn't talked to Charlie in probably 22 years, and I'd been looking for his number. And another guy that we were stationed with over there, Freddie Krueger, shout out to Freddie, Mike Freddie Krueger.
Oh,
He had Charlie's number, gave it to me. I reached out to Charlie. Man, we talked about 2 hours, like it had, we'd never stopped,
wow.
talking. But I say all of that to say, I think it goes back to who you are, as a person, and and you probably seen it where it's not what you do for people or what you say to people, but how you made them feel, you know. And I think maybe to some extent, I guess perhaps people have had great feelings, when interacting with me.
Right.
So that is what has allowed me to be able to call on different people. And I've been fortunate, SD, through my life. I've met celebrities. I was meeting celebrities. I mean, and you talking celebrities like Howard Cosell and Jim Lampley and Sugar Ray Leonard, and all these
Right.
huge people. Harry Belafonte. They come over to the house. They weren't coming to see me, obviously.
Right. Right. Right.
I tease people. I knew Doug Williams. I met Doug when I was 6 years old,
Yeah.
and he was a third string quarterback at Grambling as a freshman. And I'm at practice, and he's throwing me the ball because he's not on the field, so he's just
Right.
tossing. And but point being, I've been around different people, but what I learned again, all of these lessons go back to my grandfather. But he taught me you have to be able to dine with kings, yet walk among the common man. And so there is no single person that I put in any pecking order with respect to status or otherwise. And
Right.
so I think that genuineness then inures a relationship with people, that they respond, when I need them. And so
Right.
I can call on, for example, Kevin Frazier at Entertainment Tonight, or Michael Blackson, African
Right.
King of Comedy. And, my wife, she's like, Dad, we just sit there looking at TV. There's Daddy's friend, like, you know, but it's not something, you harp on, you raise your
Right.
hand like, oh, I'm
Right.
this, that. No.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
but that, I think that's what makes that possible.
And that
Who
goes
who
back.
you
That goes
are.
back to the ego. Yeah. It goes back to
Yeah,
the ego.
that goes
Yeah.
back to the
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah. It just got to know who you are. Be secure. Be self-aware. And these things are just fall into your lap. But you got to be working in the process too. Can't be in a
Yeah.
cave hiding. Nobody
Right,
knows you
right,
exist,
right.
right? So
Exactly.
yeah, kind of expounding on that. That is the way you and I met. And
Yes,
so,
yes.
and I I would have never thought that we would be where we're going or where we are at today from where we started.
Right, right,
So
right.
just to update the people real quick, I'll give a quick story. So I'm writing a book, A Toast to the Men, every week, every Wednesday. I'm posting excerpts of the book. There you go. My man, my man. I'm posting excerpts of the book on Facebook. Mike is a childhood classmate of my wife, so they're Facebook friends. He sees the excerpts. He says, "Hey, it's my classmate's husband." Now, me and Mike don't know each other. He's just supporting just because that's his classmate's husband. Hey, Gremlin State alumni. Hey, there you go. So he
Right,
gets the
right,
book.
right.
He purchases the book. Um, he says he enjoys the book. Man, got a lot from it. One particular section, a chapter of the book, really hit home for him. And fast forward, he comes to my book release party. Um, he has a good time. We start building from that, kind of staying in touch, communicating. Um, Fast forward, he I won't go into detail with it, but he encounters a business opportunity related to film, and he gets that opportunity through a relationship he has, right?
Mm-hmm.
Relationship
Yep,
again.
yep.
So he
Relationship.
contacts me and says, "Hey, would you be interested in writing a script for this docu-series?" Now, keep in mind, man, I had never written a docu-series, but it had always been something on my wish list to do, to write not necessarily a docu-series, but a movie script. So you got relationships. I meet my wife. She knows Watkins, Mike Watkins. Man, Watkins hit it off, right? Watkins has a relationship with his business partner. Watkins comes back to me, asks if I want to be a writer, right? It's all relationships and how you make people feel. And if you're obedient and open to being obedient, right? Fast
Right, right, right.
forward, a relationship I had since junior high, former NBA
Right.
player. I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants all that out there right now, what we got
Yeah,
going on.
yeah.
So he reaches back to me, comes back, moves back to town, reaches back to me because how our relationship was in junior high and high school. Even as a grown man, he remembers that, comes back, reaches out to me about one thing, about this one thing he has going on. So I say, "Hey man, I need to put you in the room with Mike," right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they talk about that. We go golfing. They talk about that. Exchange numbers. I talked to my friend Later, he's like, yeah, Mike's gonna be a part of that, but he's also gonna be a part of this other thing I got going on too. I was like, wow, okay. I said, okay. So, man, these are relationships, people, and how you make people feel. So, fast forward a bit. We have our group meeting, which includes Mike, my friend, and a few others about the business venture we're all going to be a part of. Mike says, hey, man, now we're going back to the guy who we're connected to on the film industry. Mike says, hey, Rod would be a good piece to this. Let's bring Rod in. They don't know Rod. I say, I'm good with it. I want to win. So they speak to Rod. Everybody respects him. Like, wow, okay. Yeah, he has to be a part of this.
Yeah.
He's a part of this new business venture. People, relationships, but doing the work. If I don't write the book, I don't meet Mike, right? If Rod doesn't do what he's doing on the film side, and he doesn't respect Mike enough to what he brings to the table, because they're watching each other work or not work, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Right. So all this is coming together because we're working for one. People have to respect and know what you do. All right. Then ego. Remove ego, be willing to work with others, know yourself. All right. And then being obedient. And hey man, this has all happened within a year. Do you realize that?
Yes, absolutely. I do.
I mean, so that's why I say 2020 has been good for me.
Yeah.
But the groundwork was laid a year or two before. Like, this groundwork has been laid, So
right. And that takes what you just described. It takes special personalities to, one, be obedient to the source in the universe, but also, again, ego, because ego could be like, well, he doing enough, so why I need to invite him? I'm gonna let him. I know he working on this, so I'm gonna let him keep doing what he doing, and then you don't, allow that intermingling and whatnot. Whereas when you remove the veil and you go in truth and in love, then it's no. I have to do what's best for the entire collective.
Yes.
Even to the extent what you didn't say, because I respect that because you're so humble. But you were like, I don't have to be a part of, one of those ventures. Right. But no, we're like, no. You made that happen, so of course you're gonna be a part of it. But ego, you could have been, your mindset could have been completely different. Like, well, no. I ain't mean for y'all to be connected on two things. I just meant that one thing.
Man, but I was ecstatic, and I was like, wow, I felt humble, grateful that I was a vessel to make one of the vessels to make that happen. And then I did put out there that I could pull out of one of these ventures because, quite honestly, people, I don't bring a lot to that table concerning that venture. Mike brings a lot. My friend brings a lot, and I'm only not saying his name because I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Rod brings a lot, and other people bring a lot. Man, I'm low on the totem pole, but I know that.
Yeah.
Exactly. and that's in that venture, not meaning as a whole, as a person, but I have to be self-aware of where I fit in and what I bring in that venture. And so most of the time on the Zoom meetings, man, I may throw out a question or two, but hey, man, I'm a student in that realm. I'm a student and I'm listening. And if I do ask a question, it's going to be a quality question, not just based out of ego to be a part of it, just to say I said something.
But to that end, but oftentimes people will in fact limit themselves to the extent that, or others with